and then unexpectedly, once more again in Berlin. I became a mother in this time, felt my own relations to the world cleave open and rearrange themselves. The pieces very roughly track these seasons of life, and like seasons, their timelines loop and loop again. As I write this note to you, the cold season is upon us. Thick snow has covered much of England, and Germany gets rain for Christmas. The birch trees on my street still hold their yellow leaves. These are essays written for a world in motion. Plants that in dispersal might teach us what it means to live in the wake of change. 1. Margin. Margin, 2021. It is April, mid-morning on a Wednesday, and I have come to the pond alone. 3 months I've been away from this water, quiet in my apartment. I'm no longer inured to the cold, so when I step down the ladder, I hesitate. Cold pools around my ankles, and then my feet disappear into black. The pond is clear, a sign that the sediment that normally hangs in the water has settled. Filling my throat with air, I lower myself in and turn towards the distance. As I swim out, I veer into the shallows, beneath the willow, where my legs brush shoreline weeds. I feel my feet tangle, and just for a moment, I'm breathless. At the edge of the water, there's a spray of reeds. In springtime, they've not yet reached their full height, growth still slowed by lingering cold. But they're collecting themselves, readying leaves and buds and shoots to unfurl. These are marginal plants, those grown at the edge of the water, at the border between land and lake. Theirs is a territory blurred and impermanent, contracting with heavy rains, starved of life with summer droughts. I watch these margins as I swim. To speak of margins is to speak of edges, of borders, a word that tastes of paper but also of place. 3 generations of my family have lived as migrants, each with very different fortunes. My maternal grandparents lost their first homes to a civil war and gave up their second with the narrow hope of new opportunity. My paternal grandparents migrated late in life to be closer to family. My mother and my father met when both were new to Canada. And then there is my sister and me. We wear a border in our bodies. My sister, strangers often point out, looks so much like my Taiwanese mother, and I like my Welsh father. My sister has stayed in the town we grew up in, and I have not stopped moving. I have made and left homes every few years, always learning somehow to begin anew. Plants that grow on the edge between 2 kinds of environments are asked to be agile, to belong not just to a world of water, but to dry land as well. There are other beings too that have this agility. Those we've uprooted and carried across global currents, those we class as other to the place in which they find themselves. Plants are often considered static. The word we often use to describe them, rooted, is also how we might describe our human belonging to a place. But when I think of seed, of blossom, root, and rhizome, it is movement that I think of. So what does it mean to be a plant out of place? The pond is not, in its most literal sense, a natural place. It is anthropogenic. Once a stream of the River Fleet, the pond was dug as one in a chain of reservoirs around the early 17th century. A pile of clay, puddled to a hard surface, used as a source of drinking water. And now it is the picture of a rural idyll. A pond made, a landscape planted. The trees here were added mostly in the 1920s and 30s. Oak, hawthorn, alder, sycamore, holly, and yew. And in the past few years, the margins of this pond have been recreated, dug up to restore drainage, relaid and replanted with native plants. Reeds, lilies, and loosestrife. It is a place designed and maintained to look the way it does. Picturesque. When I swim here, I find myself in an idealized vision of the English landscape. Careful, cultivated, intentional. Scientifically speaking, the native plants here belong to a temperate pond habitat. But in my mind, they also belong to a more